Hey, good morning, everybody. And this is Mr. Ainsworth, and we're going to get into Chapter 6, Section 5 here and how to multiply polynomials. All right, so we're going to switch from adding and subtracting to multiplying, which means we have to refer to, all right, Section 6.1, all right, and Section 6.2 in our notes, because that's where we learned how to multiply monomials with dealing with exponents, all right? That's how we learned what to do. All right, so we're going to go through many different types here. We're going to start off with the easiest type. We're going to take a look at type 1, which I just call multiplying monomials. Now remember, mono means one, all right, one. Nomial means term, so these are single terms, right? Single, all right, terms. And we're going to take a look at how to multiply them effectively. So the first thing we're going to do when we take 3y times negative 5y squared is we want to regroup like terms. All right, so let's write that down. You've seen me do this before, so let's do it again. So regroup like terms. All right. You can only multiply like terms and you can only add like terms. Isn't that amazing? All right, I've done this before in my previous lessons. So let's do that. We're going to multiply 3y times negative 5y squared by multiplying the constants first. Now, constants are the 3 and the negative 5. And in multiplication, the order doesn't matter and the grouping doesn't matter. So I'm going to group up 3 times the negative 5. That's my first group. My second group, I'm going to multiply the variables, y times y squared. Okay, and I want to illustrate something here. 3 times negative 5 is obviously negative 15, so that's part of my answer. But you got to remember what to do with variables when you're multiplying like bases. Now you take y to the first power times y to the second power. Well, it's y to the power of 1 plus 2, which is y cubed. All right, we want to add the exponents. I talked about this in section 1. So my answer is negative 15y cubed, or negative 15y to the third power. Okay, so I just showed my thinking off to the right. And again, this is in section, all right, in your notes 6.1.2. If you want to take them out, everything I said in there applies to here. All right, so step 1, we want to regroup like terms. That's what I did. And then step 2, all right, I'll put this in red too, is obviously simplify, all right, using the rules of exponents. When you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. Okay? All right, and that's what we're going to do a few times here when you multiply monomials, single terms. So on this next one here, when you take 10x times 2/5 x cubed times 3x, all right, you regroup your constants. So 10 times 2/5 times 3, all right, is your first group. Second group, your variables, x times x cubed, all right, times another x. So you notice you do that, right? And then you go for it, you simplify, right? 10 times 2 is 20, divided by 5 is 4. All right, so this is 4 times 3, or 12. So I know my answer is 12 times something. I take x times x cubed times x. I get x to the 1 plus 3 plus 1. And 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. So I get times x to the 5th power, or simply 12x to the 5th. All right, so on the fractions here, you multiply 10 times 2 first to get 20. Divided by 5 is 4. So I multiply the first two numbers. 10 times 2/5 is 4. All right, you always multiply the numerator first, right? 10 times 2 is 20, divided by 5 is 4, times 3 is 12. And then you multiply like bases, all right? And I'm multiplying an x here, 3x is here, 1x here, so 5 in all, so it's going to be x to the 5th. So you want to regroup and then simplify. All right, let's just get some practice, okay? Now, if you have more than one variable, you do the same thing, okay? You regroup the like terms. So negative 8 times 3/4 is first group. P times p squared, second group. All right, third group is q times q to the third. All right, so notice that I regroup like terms. Regroup. All right, step 2, simplify. All right, it's a simple two-step process. All right, negative 8 times 3 is negative 24, divided by 4 is negative 6. Or if you want to divide first, you can. Negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2, times 3 is negative 6. Okay, and then p to the first times p squared is p cubed. All right, q to the first times q to the third is q to the fourth. All right, everything's being multiplied. So you just write it as negative 6p cubed times q to the fourth. You can put the dot in the middle for multiplying if you like, but it's not necessary. Okay. Okay, and these expressions are equivalent. That's why I put the equal sign there. All right, so you simply regroup like terms because you're only allowed to regroup, or excuse me, multiply like terms, and then you kick in the rules of exponents that you learned in the first section. Okay. Now, if something has, if a monomial is being taken to a power, well, you got to handle that first. And again, refer to section 6.1 and 6.2 because we did all this. Okay, so in my first group, you got to cube everything. So notice this. You got to cube everything. And in my second group, you got to take everything to the fourth. So I got to take 2 to the third, and then I got to take x to the third to the third. My second group right here, I'm talking about this right here, I got to take 2 to the fourth, and then I got to take x to the seventh to the fourth. So notice how I raise each term inside the parentheses to the power. Okay, this is power to a power, you multiply exponents. This is power to a power, and if you refer to section 6.1 and 6.2 in the notes, all right, you'll see this rule. All right, and what you want to do is multiply the exponents. So power to the power, multiply exponents. All right, 2 to the third, if you want to do a little side work, all right, that's equal to 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, or 8. So this is 8. Power to power, you multiply exponents, so you get x to the 9th power here, because 3 times 3 is obviously 9. 2 to the 4th is 16, because it's going to be 8 times another 2, or 16, so times 16 here. And then x to the 7th to the 4th is x to the 28th. Okay, now you got to take 8 times 16, and let me see, 8 times 16 is 80 plus 48. All right, 8 times 10 is 80, 8 times 6 is 48, 80 and 40 is 120, and then you have the 8, so 128. So it's first group, regroup like terms. Notice I regroup here. 8 times 16, as I said over here, is 128. And then when you multiply like bases, okay, like you did up here in the previous problem, you add exponents. 9 plus 28, all right, that's 37. So you get times x to the 37th power. So what you're doing is using concepts of the past, all right, to handle ones in the present. All right, so you try it. All right. At this point, this problem is very similar to the previous one, so pause and play. All right. All right, once you start interacting with me here, pause the video and go for it. Okay, let's check your work. You got to take 2 and square it. You got to take x cubed, all right, and square it. That's your first group. And now in the 3x to the 5th, you got to cube everything. So times 3 cubed times x to the 5th cubed. All right, so what do you get? Well, you get 4 here. 2 squared is usually 4. X cubed squared is x to the 6th times 27. 3 times 3. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, or 9 times 3, or 27. So times 27 here, times x to the 15th. And then you regroup 4 times 27, and then x to the 6th times x to the 15th, just like I did the previous one. 4 times 27 is 80 plus 28, or 108. All right, so when you multiply these, you get 108. 4 times 20 is 80 plus 28 more, so that's 108. And then times x to the 6 plus 15, or x to the 21st power. All right, and that's all there is to it, guys. You just got to practice and get good, and that's why you should be interacting with me here. And if you're not, you should be. So use the video effectively here, guys, and just pause and play through the video if you think you got it. Okay? Now, type 2, you're going to take a monomial times a binomial. Okay? Or in some cases, here I got trinomials and other polynomials here. So it's binomials, okay, trinomials, all right, and in general, polynomials, okay? So I added a few more in here. And what you want to do is distribute the term, okay? Distribute and see what happens. Distribute and simplify. So let's write that out because I didn't write that in the directions, okay? Okay, you want to distribute, all right, and simplify if possible, okay? So when you take 2x times 3x, all right, 2 times 3 is 6, and x times x is x squared. So you get 6x squared minus, because there's a minus sign, and then 2x times the 5. And 2x times 5 is, well, that's usually, all right, 10x. Sorry about that. Okay? And that's how the game is played. So you got to multiply both terms inside the parentheses by the leading term to 2x. That's why I said you got to take a monomial times a binomial. This is a monomial, sorry, and this is a binomial. All right. You distribute and you put things in descending order, like we always do. From x, when you take a look at the exponents from high to low. I do not know what's going on here. Sorry about this. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can continue here. All right, so we're going to take negative 3x times 6. So negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. X times x is x squared. All right, negative 3 times negative 4 is 12. So negative 3x times negative 4 is positive 12x. And notice it's in descending order, second degree then first degree, just like the previous one. So it's in descending order or standard form. Okay, let's write that down too. You want it in descending order. All right, and that is from high to low. Everybody say high to low. All right, high to low. All right, second degree, then first degree. It's that simple. Now, if you multiply a polynomial with more than two terms, if it has three terms as a trinomial, you distribute 3 times. And if it's a polynomial with 4 terms, you distribute 4 times. Okay, it's the same idea. All right, you just use your properties. All right, so 3x times 5x squared. You get 15. 3 times 5 is 15. X times x squared is x cubed. All right, because you add the exponents right there. 1 plus 2 is obviously 3. Or x times x squared is x cubed. Minus 3x times 4x is 12x squared. And then 3x times a negative 2, all right, there is a negative 6x, so minus 6x. And notice that it's in descending order, third degree, second degree, first degree. All right, and that's how the game is played. All right, let's try it again. Pause and play a little bit if you want. All right, distribute through, see what happens. All right, start distributing. Go for it. All right, let's check your work. Okay, 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed minus 2x times 3x is 6x squared. And then minus, all right, because it says minus. 2x times 5 is 10x. Third degree, second degree, first degree. It's that simple. All right, try the next one. You're going to take a monomial times a polynomial here. Give it a shot. All right, let's check your work. We got 3x squared times, all right, 2x cubed is 6x to the 5th. All right, 2 plus 3 is 5. You add the exponents. Plus 3x times the 4x squared is 12x to the 4th. 3 times 4 is 12. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Okay, now distribute to the third term. All right, 3x squared times 3x is 9x cubed. And then 3x squared times the 1 is just 3x squared. And notice the exponents, okay? High to low, fifth degree, fourth degree, third degree, second degree. That is high to low. That is called standard form or what's called descending order. All right, descending order. All right, high to low on the exponents. All right, now you try it. All right, let's check out the next one here. So here we go. We got 2x times 5x cubed is 10x to the 4th. 2x times 7x squared, all right, is a minus 14x cubed. X times x squared is x cubed. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And then 2x times 3 is 6x. And notice the descending order again, okay? Fourth degree, third degree, second degree, and first degree, all right? And that's all there is to it, all right? That's how you take a monomial and distribute through, all right? And we did it multiple times, all right? Now the third type, you got to multiply binomials, okay? Now you could use distributive property, and it's also called the FOIL method as well, where FOIL stands for, all right, first, excuse me, I didn't mean to write FO, I meant FIRST, so F stands for first, come on Ainsworth, O stands for outer, and then I stands for inner. I'll explain this what it means in a minute here. All right, and L stands for last. So it's an acronym which stands for something, okay? The FOIL method is called first, outer, inner, last because you distribute or multiply 4 times when you multiply binomials. All right, the key is multiply 4 times, right? Because you got 2 terms times 2 terms. 2 times 2 is 4, so you're going to be multiplying, all right, 4 times. That's the key. All right, so here we go. We're going to take 2x times 4x, so first times first, right here. That's the first product. 2x times 4x is 8x squared. The outer product is the terms on the outside, the 2x times the negative 5, and that is a negative 10x. The inner product, you multiply the terms on the inside. The 3 times the 4x is 12x. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up like terms. And then 3 times negative 5, well, that's negative 15. And then what we want to do is add like terms, and we're going to add vertically. Okay, now there's nothing to add to the 8x squared because you only can add like terms of the same degree. So I'm going to bring that down. Negative 10x plus 12x is 2x because 12x minus 10x is 2x. All right, 12 minus 10 is usually 2. And then you got the minus 15. And notice it's in standard form. Second degree, first degree, 0 degree. All right, standard form, okay, or what's called descending order, where the exponents are expressed from high to low, as I've been repeating myself over and over again. So notice that we multiplied 4 times. First times first is first. And then I go the outer product, okay? The 2x times negative 5 is the outer product, which is negative 10x. The 2 terms on the inside here are 3 times 4x, or 12x. And then the last times the last term times the last term gives you the last product. And that's why the inventors of all these mathematics many decades ago, came up with this acronym called FOIL, all right? First, outer, inner, last. It's just an acronym, just like GOHS is an acronym, okay? All right, the key is to get good at this, and so the only way to get good at it is to, all right, practice, okay? So this is where we start interacting right here. Let's pause and play a little bit, all right? And let's go for it, okay? So distribute, and again, remember, you're multiplying 4 times, so if you're not, then you're not doing this correctly. So multiply 4 times using what's called the FOIL method. All right, go. All right, and then let's check your work here. So we got 5x times x, all right, is 5x squared. 5x times a negative 7 is a negative 35x. All right, inner product, here we go. 3 times x is 3x. Notice how I'm lining up like terms. Line up like, all right, terms. It's always good to do that. I'm talking about this part right here, and then 3 times negative 7 is usually negative 21. At this point, you add vertically, all right, and we get 5x squared. Let me see here. So we got 3 minus 35 is negative 32, or a negative 35 plus 3 is a negative 32, x that is, and then a minus 21. All right, again, everything in standard form. All right, after you do a few of these, it becomes easy. All right, although there are different ways of doing things. So, meaning, well, there are different ways of doing things, but there are also different things you got to get used to throughout the examples, and that's why we have a lot of examples here. Okay, because all a little bit different. So be careful if you're working ahead here. I suggest you slow down and check your work on the next few because they're designed for a reason. All right, so try the next one. Give it a shot. Okay, let's check your work. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times negative 7 is a negative 7x. Distributing the inner term, here we go. Negative 3 times 4x is a negative 12x. And then negative 3 times negative 7 is a positive 21. All right. Add vertically, so we get 4x squared. Negative 7 and negative 12 is a negative 19x. A negative plus a negative is a bigger negative, and then plus 21. All right. Now, before you do this one here, I mean, you could, of course, try it on your own. However, let me show you a possibility here, okay? Whenever you multiply three things together, like, let me do something simple here, like 2 times 3 times 5, you multiply the first two, and you get 6, and then you multiply the result by 5, and you get 30, all right? And you work from left, all right, to right, just like you always do mathematics using order of operations. Well, you do this problem here the same way. You're multiplying three terms. So the very first thing is you multiply the first two. 2 times x is 2x, and then minus 2 times 2, which is 4. Notice I put in parentheses here. And I take the result and I multiply it by 4x minus 9. So you multiply the first two terms just like you do here, just like we did in grade school. 2 times 3 was 6. You take the result times the third term and you get 30. So here I took the first two terms and I got 2x minus 4. And that was my result. And then I multiply it by the 4x minus 9. All right, now you kick in FOIL method, okay? So here we go. So 2x times 4x equals 8x squared. 2x times a negative 9 is a negative 18x. All right, next term, we take a look at the inner product here. Negative 4 times 4x is a negative 16x. And then negative 4 times a negative 9 is a positive 36. At this point, you want to add like terms. So we add vertically. Just bring your 8x squared down because there's nothing in common with that. Negative 18 and negative 16 is a negative 34x, and then bring down your plus 36. And notice it's in descending order. Second degree, first degree, and the constant 36 is 0 degree. Okay, so the key here on this one is multiplying left to right. All right, if you don't do that, well, you may not end up with the right answer. All right, there's other ways to do it, but that is the easiest one to get used to. So try here again. Okay, pause the video and give it a shot on this next one. All right, let's give it a shot. Let's check your work. I'm going to distribute through the 4, and I get 4 times x is 4x, minus 4 times 1 is 4. So distributing through the 4, all right here, that's just 4x minus 4. And then you got to take the result, and then you got to multiply it by 3x minus 5. So let's do that. All right, so here we go. We got 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times a negative 5 is a negative 20x. Negative 4 times 3x is a negative 12x. And then negative 4 times a negative 5 is plus 20. Then add vertically. All right, let's see what we got. So we got 12x squared. Negative 20 and negative 12 is a negative 32x. And then the plus 20. All right, so add vertically when you're done. All right, and the reason why we add vertically is because you can only add like terms. Like terms only. Okay, and that's why I combine the x's right here, because they're the like terms, okay? All right, now the other examples are unique. Okay, I included these because they are good examples that usually embody and test the person's skill because they embody the most commonly made mistakes in algebra. All right, now go ahead and try this. Pause the video and try it, and do it in pencil. Well, you don't have to do it in pencil. I don't care what you're using. Just do it. Go ahead and practice, and then play the video, and let's see if you're right. Okay, now let's check your work. Now, the most common result that I see on this is people think that this is equal to x squared plus 1 or x squared minus 1, one of the two. All right, but it's not. Okay, so if that's you, just put a line through it. All right, because that is not the case. This is not equal to, all right, x squared minus 1, and it's not equal to, x squared plus 1. Okay, so if you got those two results, all right, just put a line through it. Don't erase your mistakes, just learn from them because these are the most commonly made mistakes that I see. People think that. When you square something, you got to go back to basics, okay? When you square something, you multiply it by itself. So we're going to expand it, okay? All right, and use FOIL. All right, or the distributive property, however you want to think about it, because that exactly is what we're doing, okay? X times x is equal to x squared. X times a negative 1 is a negative x. Inner product here, negative 1 times x is a negative x. Line them up. And then negative 1 times a negative 1 is a positive 1. So when you add like terms here, you're going to get x squared. A negative 1x plus a negative 1x is a negative 2x. Negative plus a negative is a bigger negative. All right, and then you got this plus 1. So you can tell that when you square a binomial, it's not as easy as just squaring the two terms. All right, this is not equal to, all right, x squared plus 1. It's not equal to x squared minus 1 like some people think. Like on this next one here, it's not equal to x squared minus 16 or x squared plus 16. It just isn't. It just flat out isn't, okay? So what you got to do, all right, my friends, is take it and you got to expand it like this right here. All right, and multiply your binomials using the distributive property or FOIL method. All right, so pause the video and go for it. All right, let's check your work. Let's distribute through. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Distributing the inner term here, you got negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And notice how I lined them up. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. All right, and then you add vertically because you can only add like terms. So you add up the second degrees. Negative 4 and a negative 4 is a negative 8 because a negative plus a negative is a bigger negative. So negative 4x and a negative 4x is a negative 8x. And then plus 16. And it's already in descending order. All right. So again, this is not equal to, this expression here is not equal to x squared plus 16. It is not equal to x squared minus 16, which are commonly made mistakes. This is a common, and you should write this down, mistake. I see it all the time, all the way up to calculus. All right, these are common mistakes. This is also here, this is a common mistake, and these are common mistakes. So be aware of them. Don't do it that way because they're not equivalent, okay? All right, now, something like this, okay? I included this example because there's a lot of mistakes made in here too that I see. So you got to be careful here. You got 4 times 3x minus 5 squared. The 3x minus 5 is being squared, but the 4 is not. Okay, so you got to be careful here because let me go back to something on the side. Let me do something like this. 2 times 5, let's say squared. What do you think that is? All right, write down the result here. What do you think that is? All right, so a lot of people think this is 10 squared or 100, but it's not. You got to square this first. You got to take a look at this here. This is actually 2 times 25 or 50, all right? You're not allowed to multiply first before you handle the exponents. If you guys remember back in the day when we talked about order of operations and PEMDAS, you handle the exponents first, then multiply. So you got to square the 5 first to get 25, and then multiply by 2 to get 50. You got to do the exponents first. Exponents first, all right, then multiply. That's the key on this problem here. So what we want to do is square the binomial first. So let's take 4 times 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. You got to square the binomial. You got to multiply it by itself, just like we did the previous one. Now at this point, you could multiply the binomials first and then take the result, multiply by 4, or you can distribute the 4 first. It really doesn't matter. All right, if you do it correctly, you're going to get the same result. If you distribute the 4 first, it looks like this. 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 5, or excuse me, a minus 5 is a minus 20. And then you take your result and you multiply it by the 3x minus 5. All right, just like you do, let's say, grad school problems. Let me do another one here, do a little side problem here. 2 times 3 times 4. Well, that's 6 times 4, or 20, well, not 25, 24, right? You go left to right. Well, the same thing here. I went left to right. In fact, let me put a big arrow here. All right, left to right. I multiply the first terms, and I got this, and then I multiply by the third one. So you do everything you used to do back in grade school. You just do it with polynomials. All right, so let's go for it. Let's multiply here. 12x times 3x is negative 30, excuse me, not negative, but positive 36x squared. 12 times 3 is 36. X times x is x squared. Now 12x times the negative 5 is minus 60x. All right, 12 times 5 is 60, but it's negative, so it's going to be a negative 60x. And then I got to distribute through here. Negative 20 times 3x is negative 60x. And then negative 20 times negative 5 is 100. So I've got plus 100. And then, of course, you add vertically. All right, like I keep saying here, I got 36x squared. Whoops, sorry. Let me change that. X squared. A negative 60 plus a negative 60 is a negative 120. And then I got minus 120x plus 100. All right, so you got to be careful on this. All right, pause the video and try the next one. Let's see if you guys can handle it. Okay, so let's check your work here. So let's take 3 times 5x minus 2 and expand it times 5x minus 2. All right, I'm going to distribute here first. So let's distribute. So we get 15x squared minus 6. Put it in parentheses because you got to distribute twice. And then we're going to take that result and multiply by the 5x minus 2. All right, here we go. So 15x times 5x. Now, if you don't know what 15 times 5 is, it's 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 5 is 25. 50 and 25 is 75. So I got 75x squared. 15x times negative 2. And by the way, you can get your calculators out here. So if you want to use a TI-84, grab one. I mean, if you can't keep up with arithmetic in your head, don't worry about it. Use your calculator. 15 times 5 is 75. You can check it. 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. Use your calculator if you like. Distributing on the inside, negative 6 times 5x is negative 30x. Then negative 6 times the negative 2 is positive 12. And then when you add, you get 75x squared. Negative 30 and negative 30 is negative 60x, and then you get plus 12. All right? All right. That is how you do it. All right? Now, the last type we have are these guys. Okay. Yep, that's the last type we have. Type 4. We're going to take some buys and tries and multiply them together. And some tries times tries. I know it sounds like we're in the muscle gym. We got buys and tries. All right? I'm not talking about biceps and triceps. I'm talking about binomials and trinomials, and we're going to multiply them together. All right, so when you multiply a binomial, which has 2 terms, times a trinomial, which has 3 terms, you're going to be multiplying 6 times. All right, you got to distribute the x through 3 times. You got to distribute the 3 through 3 times. So that's 6 times in all. All right, so we're going to go slow. So here we go. We're going to work on the right-hand side. We're going to show all your steps. All right, show all your steps to develop good habits. All right, and if you do, you're going to be good. If you don't, God help you. All right, so let's distribute the x through first. All right, let's go slow. So we got x times x squared. Here we go. X times x squared is x cubed. Right? X times x squared is x cubed because 1 plus 2 is 3. You add exponents. Okay, x times minus 4x is a minus 4x squared. Why? Because x times x is, well, it's x squared because 1 plus 1 is 2. I mean, using the order of, or excuse me, the properties of exponents. All right, and then minus again, x times 5 is 5x. So I distribute through the x 3 times because there's a trinomial here. And now I distribute through the 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. And look what I'm going to do. I'm going to line up like terms. So let's write that down. Line up like terms. Okay, I'm talking about right here. Line up like terms. So I line up the second degree terms, or what are called quadratic terms. I line them up. 3 times x squared is 3x squared, so I line it up with the other x squared. 3 times a minus 4x is a negative 12x. I'll line them up. 3 times a negative 5 is a negative 15, and that's my constant term. And so my end result is x cubed, my third degree term. All right, there's no other like term to it, right? Third degree, and then second degree right here. And let me see, negative 4 and 3 is negative 1, so negative 1x squared. And then here I got a negative 5 and a negative 12 is a negative 17x, because a negative plus a negative is a bigger negative. And then I bring down the constant minus 15. So I go third degree, second degree, first degree, and the 0 degree, which is my constant. This is called my constant term. All right, it's 0 degree. And you can refer back to lesson 1. Again, all of this I talked back in lesson 1. All right, so give it a shot. Pause the video now. Let's interact. Pause and play. Go for it. All right, let's check your work. Here we go. So we're going to distribute through the x. So x times 8x squared is 8x cubed. X times x is a minus x squared. X times 9, or negative 9, is a negative 9x. So you distribute through 3 times. Then the same thing with a negative 5. Negative 5 times 8x squared is a negative 40x squared. And notice how I line up the square terms, or the second degree terms. Negative 5 times a negative x is a positive 5x, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And then negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45. And then you add vertically. I'm writing down a lot of notes so you guys can, remember what I say. Record. Okay, so here we go. We got 8x cubed. Minus 1 and a minus 40 is a minus 41. X squared. All right, and then a negative 9 and a 5x is a negative 4x, and then plus 45. Okay, I think we ought to resume here. So we're going to try this here. We got to fix this problem because it wasn't fixed here. So let me restate the problem. Yeah, I'll just restate it here. So we got x squared, all right, minus 2x plus 1, all right, times 7x squared minus 5x minus 3. Okay, I just rewriting the problem over here. Okay, we've got two trinomials we're multiplying together, and this has 3 terms, and this is 3 terms. I got to take each one of these 3 terms and distribute 3 times. So I got to multiply 9 times total. All right. All right, so I got to take one term at a time and distribute through the second polynomial. So I got to take x squared and multiply it by 7x squared. All right, now x squared times 7x squared is 7x to the 4th. Remember, x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Okay, multiply like variables. All right, you add their exponents, and obviously 2 plus 2 is 4. So x squared times 7x squared is 7x to the 4th. Then I multiply this x squared times the second term. And there's a minus sign here, so it's minus x squared times 5x is a minus 5x cubed. All right, x squared times x is equal to x cubed. And then x squared times a minus 3 is just a minus 3x squared. So I distribute 3 times. Distribute, all right, each term, all right, 3 times. And I'm talking about this term and this term and this term. All right, that's the key. All right, that's why we have to multiply 9 terms total. All right, next term, we got to take the negative 2x and distribute through. So negative 2x times 7x squared. All right, negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. X times x squared. Well, that's an x cubed, so I get a negative 14x cubed. So I'm going to line it up with the other cubes. All right, line up like terms. Line up, all right, like terms, because you can only add like terms, as I keep on saying in my videos. Negative 2x times the negative 5x is a positive 10x squared. And then a negative 2x times a negative 3 is a minus 6x, right? Nope, positive 6x. A negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. All right, now the last term I need to distribute is the 1. All right, I got to distribute 3 times. So 1 times 7x squared is 7x squared. 1 times minus 5x is a minus 5x. All right, and then 1 times a minus 3 is a minus 3. And then I add vertically. So here we go. So bring down the 7x to the fourth because there's nothing like to it. Negative 5 and negative 14 is a negative 19, x cubed. All right, a negative plus a negative is a bigger negative. And then 7 plus 10 is 17. Take away 3 is 14, so that's positive 14x squared. And notice that when I add the like terms, the degrees stay the same. All right, when you add like terms, the terms stay the same. And if you have 6x minus 5x, that's just 1x or x, and then bring down the minus 3. And notice it's in standard form or descending order. Okay, and that's all there is to it. All right, so now this needs to be changed, so let's change it. So let's change it to x squared plus 5x plus 4 times 3x squared minus 2x minus, I don't know, minus 1. Here we go. All right, so let me rewrite it over here. I got x squared plus 5x plus 4. All right, times 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. All right, and let's distribute. Here we go. So on this one here, we're gonna multiply the x squared through 3 times. So x squared times 3x squared is 3x to the fourth. X squared times a minus 2x is a minus 2x cubed. Again, x squared times x equals x cubed. All right, let me rewrite this. There we go. All right, and the first one, x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. This is my thought process, okay? Now on this one here, I got to multiply the third term. So x squared times a minus 1, well, that's just a minus x squared. That's a simple one. All right, distributing through the 5x. So 5x times 3x squared. 5 times 3 is 15. X times x squared is 15x cubed. All right, and it's positive, so I'm going to put a plus sign there. 5x times a minus 2x is a minus 10x squared. 5x times a minus 1 is a minus 5x. Last thing I need to do is distribute through the 4. So 4 times 3x squared. Oops, I missed a square here. 5x times a minus 2x is a minus 10x squared. So check your notes right there. That should be minus 10x squared. All right, back to the 4 again. 4 times 3x squared is 12x squared. Line up like terms. 4 times a minus 2x is a minus 8x. And then 4 times a negative 1 is usually minus 4. All right, and then you add vertically. All right, so here we go. So 3x to the fourth. 15 minus 2 is 13, so 13x cubed. Let me see, 12 minus 10 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1, so plus 1x squared, or just x squared. And then here a negative 5 and a negative 8 is a negative 13x. Negative plus a negative is bigger negative. And then a minus 4. Okay, and that's all there is to it. All right, now you got some homework. All right, so now the time is to practice this. All right, and they call it homework for a reason, because you do it at home because we don't have enough time to do everything in class. All right, and practice takes time. All right, so you can do that at home. So remember, this is a video, right? And there were a ton of examples. So if you need to, you can go back to the beginning in section 6.5 and rewind and listen to anything you like. All right, it's a video, so learn from it, practice, and I'll see you in my next lesson. All right, I'm tired and I'm done. All right, and I'll see you later. All right, bye-bye.